I'll send you my artillery as well. So you're not just using blanket infantry units. Can't believe I'm the Ottomans bolstering Austria. This just feels weird. Is that a gun with a saber attached to it? Yep. Don't think it was one of mine. No, it wasn't. It's basically instead of the bayonet, they have a saber. Some of the Chinese, for example, have swords and guns. Just found out about the musket-only challenge in normal Hearts of Iron. Oh, is that where you never change weapon tech? I mean, that's not even a challenge. That's the standard strategy playing in China, where you just need to get as many guns in as many hands as possible. And the basic weaponry is just cheaper. Oh dear, Two Sicilies is getting naval invaded. Damn. Yeah, after the fall of Greece, I think all of the Union of Britain's troops turned around and started attacking Two Sicilies. That's very unfortunate. Tier 3 guns. Still 1941. We could upgrade our armoured cars. Is there any reason not to do this? I don't think so. Let's do it. Let's do it! Oh, and also aircraft. We definitely need to upgrade those. Probably after the atomic research is finished, we'll do aircraft with that. Because it's post-1940. We already have the aircraft designer. Yes, we do. Cool. In fact, we already have the motorized designer too, which counts for armoured cars. It's just the tanks that we don't have, but we don't really use tanks at the moment, so that's fine. Musket only challenge, you get Lend-Lease from Afghanistan. It starts the game with only muskets, then you build that as your only infantry equipment. Oh, I see. Hey, Cleanus. Yeah, no worries. I totally get it. Real life purchases takes priority. I'll never condemn that. Reintegrate the Vilayet of Tripolitania. Done. And now we can do this one. Abolish the Vilayet of Yerevan. When Armenia was conquered, trouble on the ground and continued guerrilla attacks made control over this far-flung province tricky. In an attempt to pacify the population and ensure they don't pose a threat to our flank, a series of military governors were installed to maintain order. Now that the empire has taken a decisively different course, however, Armenian autonomy groups have pushed for the introduction of provincial assemblies. Oh, we're out of factories again. Let's do that. Make sure that we continue producing everything that we want to produce. Fall of Rome. Today, a general commanding Italian forces secured the surrender of the Eternal City. For days beforehand, Italian troops had fought through the suburbs, and while some of the swampy areas were still under papal control, the major highway through the centre of Rome and the Vatican City were completely locked down. Papal soldiers have been seen dispersing into the low foothills surrounding the ancient capital of the Roman Empire. The Socialist Republic of Italy has been careful to announce that special military police are on hand in the city to prevent the looting of St. Peter's Basilica and the Pantheon, and they are in negotiations with the Pope to see what autonomy the Vatican can retain while under Italian occupation. How will the Papal State recover from this? I don't think they will. As I said. Do just want to say, Mordred, in all seriousness, it's streamers like you, Shen Quill, make women like myself feel safe to voice ourselves, come out and speak their minds. I'm really pleased to hear that. Thank you, Katie. And I really wish more people did the same. Because I do believe that it's the public figures like ourselves who can slowly but surely change the community as a whole. And I know that there are large portions of the community who are horribly toxic. I want nothing to do with them, but they are the people who give the rest of us a bad name. Can't think of a Twitch streamer who just completely ignores the community and broadcasts rather than interacting with chat, but there are definitely some on YouTube. Oh, there are Twitch streamers. There are several big names blacklisted by Paradox because they don't moderate chat. I'm not going to name names, but there are quite a few of them. And it's interesting. How much of this can I say? The best way to recognize which ones it is to see which are the big streamers at any time, and then see whether they actually do events with Paradox. If they don't do events with Paradox, that's why. And Paradox takes a pretty heavy stance on that. Like, I don't want to talk too much for Paradox because I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I just have a lot of respect for their stance on that. Because it would definitely be in their interest to pander to these huge communities, but they don't, because they don't want any part of those communities. And that's applaudable. Kaiser Wilhelm II is dead. Wilhelm II, the German Emperor, has died of a pulmonary embolism in his home today. One of the last monarchs of the 19th century, Wilhelm II tried to continue the legacy of European greatness and world leadership. He initiated the policy of Weltpolitik, which bore fruit after the Weltkrieg, as Germany became the foremost power in the world. He was the last leader of the old school, a bulwark against radicalism, a rallying point in war, a stable leader in unstable times. With his death, Crown Prince Friedrich Wilhelm will ascend the throne as Wilhelm III, more of a modernizer and an extremist than his father. His succession marks a sea change in the German politics and diplomacy. How German partners and rivals will react is as yet uncertain, but what is sure is that with Wilhelm II's death, the long waning of the 19th century is finally complete. Truly the end of an era. Not just Toy 4, Paradox fanbase overall can be really toxic. I mean, it's kind of expected given the topic of most of the games, but still. Hearts of Iron 4 has it the worst. Like, one of the reasons that Ben Magnus wants nothing to do with Hearts of Iron 4 was because there were so many people so vocally espousing such bullshit. Which is unfortunate. I just took the path of moderating it more heavily. And for the most part, I think I've rooted that out from my community. But I get the danger. And looking at other people's YouTubes and comments, I can see the difficulty. I mean, some of my more popular videos, I do have them popping up from time to time, but I'm still of a size where I can moderate. I don't even have any moderators. Like, YouTube moderation's all me. Twitch is more difficult because things are constantly moving. I need actual moderators. So thank you, moderators, for doing such a great job. Seriously, you are what makes this community. But it does require active effort, unfortunately. What? Oh. Didn't even realise I had an order here still. It's the most elite people. They completely sat out the war in Yemen. They're like, yeah, we're fine. We were told to guard this port. We're not at war with anyone with the navy, but we're still guarding this port. Huzzah! Okay, so Austria has just integrated Hungary, which is going to give them even more manpower. Yeah, more and more of our old stuff is being switched out, so we can send more and more of this old stuff to Austria, which hopefully is helping. Because we are sending them an awful lot. I think the next shipment we'll send to Germany. It's just that Austria seems to have more manpower right now. Mention to my mods, anyone who spouts gets timed out. One more timeout gets banned. Yeah, it's a good policy, Snowball. Surprised me how well Quill's Heart of Iron streams are not toxic, but then he has Essentia and other really good mods. It's down to the moderators. And actually, my moderation policy is because I had the opportunity to sit down with Essentia and say, how the hell do you do this? And I still remember, like, my guidance to moderators is don't be police. Be advocates. Lead through example. A moderator's job in a community is to encourage active participation, not to police the community. But obviously, if the community needs policing, then stamp on it hard with a giant ban hammer. But generally, if you encourage positivity, then positivity is what you'll get back. And the chat, to an extent, will moderate itself. And that really was some serious wisdom from Essentia, so that was useful. Really couldn't face playing as Germany until the art history tree came out. Still haven't played as vanilla Germany without going down the art history path. At one point had every achievement except True Blitzkrieg, one for winning as Germany, and the really hard Polish secret one. I have played as Germany. Someone on YouTube was asking... Was it YouTube? It might even have been here. Was asking if I'll ever play as Germany in TNO. No. No, I won't. What's France doing? France is currently demolishing Germany. Huzzah! And they're currently doing naval research. I think Austria might actually be fighting back. The fall of Lisbon. Reports from Lisbon confirm the Portuguese city has been captured by advancing British troops after skirmishes through the Sierra Montano and a rapid push towards the mouth of the Tagus River. Portuguese forces put up a stiff resistance, hoping to delay the British forces for as long as possible, but they were eventually beaten back. The fight for Lisbon was complicated as the Portuguese defenders intentionally destroyed Lisbon's bridges, forcing attackers to ford the large river to fully capture the city. A ceremony was held in the Praça de Comércio, where the British forces called for the surrender of all remaining Portuguese soldiers in the hillsides. Blitz, thank you very much for the resubscription, coming in with a 7-month resub. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Raid Naden coming in with an 8-month resubscription. Thank you very much for that ongoing support too. Appreciate that too. Faceless, here now time's desperate to turn the tide, waiting for a new WoW expansion, waiting for it to release, playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Fair enough. If all you do as a mod is ban people and time people out and don't talk and show an example of good behaviour, then all you get is silence rather than a good community. Well put, poet. Well put. Do you not want to play as Germany and TNO for the same reason you will not say the AB's full name? Don't want to dignify the ideology with anything? Yes, basically. Can I send volunteers? I could. But I think at this point, volunteers would be in such low numbers that it wouldn't really do much, because I could still only send like one. Whereas I am getting an increasing industry, so sending them weaponry I think would be more useful. And that's what I'm trying to do with Austria. If I can get them with enough boots on the ground where they can at least stop the fall, then hopefully they can start pushing back. We'll see. I have another 1,000 guns I can give away. Hey, Germany, do you want some? Yeah, you do. Although, thinking about it, these might just be the ones that haven't gone to Austria yet. Because I don't think it was that long ago that I filled this in. These are actually German guns. Here, have them back. I don't know how I got them. Oh, I know how they got them. Because you were backing the bloody rebels in my nation. Unfortunately, having you fall would be far worse than having you not fall. I need you to kind of, you know, destroy yourselves in this war and just stalemate it out. Oh, bloody hell, that's a big Russian offensive. Uh-oh. Now, I could start recruiting my own divisions. At some point, I should probably start doing that a little bit more aggressively. Alright, Vilayet of Yerevan has been removed. We're short on motorized, so I'm not even making motorized. Let's make some motorized. I would say that artillery is less important. Something like that. And armoured cars aren't as important anymore. And then more guns. Or more artillery. Let's go with more artillery. No, let's go with more planes. Because then I can send aircraft. We'll make some more fighters. The other reason for that is I can now start importing from Canada aluminium. Okay, next focus. Proclaim the Statutes of Autonomy. Although the Federation model, which the Ottoman Empire recently adopted, has been a massive step forwards for various autonomy and separatist movements, the expansion of the Ottoman control towards Egypt, Iran, and the Arab Peninsula has made the policymakers in Constantinople move towards an even more drastic version of decentralization, wherein provinces can choose to exert even greater control over their internal affairs. Make it happen. Now, where are we with the resistance issues? How far did we get? Cool. 18.6% from the deputies, minus 29% stability. There's the new armoured car, which we'll use to replace. And then new technology was going to be aircraft. We definitely want a new type of fighter. Sooner rather than later. Germany requests Ottoman support. The Germans have asked us to join them in their war against Syndicalism and forces of the Internationale. Conservative elements in the country say that it's our sacred duty to defend Europe against the godless Reds, while others say we should not fight Germany's war for them. After all, with the end of the Welsh Creek, the Germans refused to assist us in our recovery, despite fighting with them virtually unnecessarily, and instead the Reich continued to exploit our serious foreign debt problems. The question now, should we assist Germans in their fight? So we can say the Sultan shall aid the Reich, where we will formally join the Reichspakt. Germans are on their own this time. Or send supplies and volunteers. So, one note I will make on this is the Reichspakt is currently at war with Russia. Russia is not the Reds. I want no part of a war against Russia. If this was an event to say, declare war on the Commune of France and the Third Internationale, I'd be tempted. Because this is formally joining the Reichspakt and getting into the war against Russia, most of our efforts would be fighting Russia, rather than France or Britain. Because the real pressure we could exert is naval pressure in the Mediterranean, which would really hamper these British naval invasions. Like, really hamper those invasions. But then again, if we open up another front against the Russians, that would relieve pressure on the Ukraine and open up more troops to actually fight on the German front against the French. It's an interesting decision. And also, the other thing to consider, Germany was the one behind the coup. They were the ones that supported the people who tried to overthrow our government, until our magnificent Prince Ford came in, sabre in hand, and charged them out of the palace. Alright, we're going to make this a 2-minute vote because I think that this is going to be a big one, because this is going to really affect our future. And regardless of which one we'll choose, we will reassign soldiers before we actually click the button, if we choose to intervene. So, get your votes in. Sending supplies and volunteers, by the way, is 10,000 men, 10,000 infantry equipment to Germany, and we promise some support. That's all stuff we can afford, because we're already sending them Lend-Lease. Who's threatening us more, the Socialists or Germans? Well, considering the Socialists are about to beat the Reichspakt and also the Entente, Socialists. They are a big threat. They are on the cusp of winning the Second World War already in 1941. Even Baratia is pushing back against India, which is annoying. That stalemate's broken. And it looks like Japan is losing against Qing as well. Like, it's bad on every front. Everyone that could realistically take on the Third Internationale is losing, with the possible exception of Russia, but even Russia is not doing that well. Would I mind sharing what keyboard I'm using? I'm using a Corsair K19? K something or other. The one without the extra macro keys. And it's good. I like it. It's pretty heavy duty. Keys are very responsive, more than I'm used to, but I've actually grown to quite like it. And I like that it's got like different textures for the WASD keys. It's a really subtle thing, but it just makes gaming easier. It's a good keyboard. Highly recommend it. So, vote, vote, vote. Get your votes in. Orange Castle, my biggest gripe with Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4 is a complete disconnect to the actual horrors of war. It's dangerous and looks bad to allow players to enact crimes against humanity, but Paradox is right not having this gamified. I think it's all too easy to play and not realise and appreciate the true human cost behind war and conflicts. To an extent I agree, but also having been at PDXCon where people were literally asking Podcat if they would add gas chambers to the game, no, don't do it. Nothing good will come of that. I still can't believe they actually asked that in public at PDXCon. No. I wonder if that guy got kicked out. I kind of hope he did. I know they have kicked people out in the past. Right, how did that vote go? Let's take a look. Let's have a look. Alright, Lil Tomton contributed, bloody hell, 25,000 channel points. There are a lot of points spent on this. 39%, 33%, and 28%. We Shall Aid the Reich came in second with the 33%, which leaves the 39 and the 28 still decided. One of them has been chosen, the other one has not. The Germans are on their own. Has lost. We are going to be sending supplies and volunteers. 10,000 manpower, off you go. And actually our manpower is rapidly ratcheting up. Personally, I think indirect support was your only option. There's just not enough divisions in your end to make a difference yet. No, but I can ramp that up pretty quickly. Like, our industry is getting into high gear. We've now got 24 civilian factories working. We're only 2% war support away from war economy. And our factories and infrastructure is getting built faster and faster at the moment. So we would be back in the fight pretty quickly, I think. In fact, we should take a look at the occupied territories. Whoa, why is Armenia so bad? Very high unrest. Interesting. You don't need to be martial law anymore. You can actually go to local oversight. Alright, so Cyrenacia is basically pacified. Iran might be too. I mean, the parts of Iran I still own. Yeah, they are. You are just in Basra now, and you're still on martial law. Local autonomy here, that's as low as it will go. Police force, you can probably do autonomy. No, let's do civilian just in case. Where's this? This Egypt? Yeah, Egypt still. Lots of people happening. You're on civilian oversight, you can probably go to autonomy. Here. And you're on military governor. You need to ratchet up. Whereas you basically need to stay where you are. So Syria is still causing problems. Where are my agents currently? Yeah, you're over there. You're here in Saudi, which I think is still a big problem zone. Then you're in Israel, Jerusalem, which is also still a big problem zone. Very high revolt risk, so that's not a surprise. Okay. And this is going to reduce the unrest in basically every state, including Jerusalem. This will reduce my political power gain and my consumer goods factories, but I think that's going to get reversed when we get to this. No, we're stuck with this penalty. That's a mean penalty. 10% goods factories? And minus 0.25 daily political power gain with this one completed. Ouch. That 10% goods produced is going to be horrific. Hopefully there are events and decisions that allow you to reduce that.